Yo, what is up? This is Divine YGO, and gonna be doing a deck profile on my Evil Twin deck. And the reason why I'm giving this deck profile is because I just played in 2 mat tournaments, and yeah, for the Evil Twin playmat. And unfortunately, no, I did not win this one. I didn't even win this through the random drawing. My boy Top Deck Hyun actually won this mat through the random drawing. Yeah, they handed it to him, and he immediately just turned around to me, and he was like, "Here you go. You know, this is for you. Use this mat." And yeah, I will forever be thankful for my boy. He was just like, you know, if it's with me, then, you know, it's just gonna collect dust. But with you, because you play twins, you know, rock the mat, play it, use it. So yeah, we we definitely gonna be using this. But anyways, yeah, in this video, I will be going through the deck profile, the how my rounds went in the first mat tournament, and then I'll be showing the changes that happened during the second mat tournament, which isn't really a whole lot, to be honest. And then I'll go through my rounds for the second mat tournament as well. So for the first mat tournament I played in, it was actually for this playmat right here. I placed top 5 out of 24. So it was a relatively small sized tournament, but it was filled with some of the best players in our local area. So it was a little intense for me. And then at the second mat tournament, I placed second, but I think it was just out of like 12 players though. So yeah, it got even smaller. Had a good time though at both events, and yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into this profile. So first of all, obviously we're playing the triple copies of the Live Twin Lilla and the triple copies of Live Twin Kill. This is just standard. You want to max out both of them so you can see them in your starting hands. And then for the extenders, we played 2 Frost and 1 Treat. I feel like this is just standard as well. I don't think there's too much to explain here. Lilla Treat isn't as good as Frost, but you need both, so that way if your Kill gets negated on summon, you can special summon Treat and continue your Live Twin plays. And then vice versa with Lilla, if Lilla gets negated, then you can just special summon Frost. But we played the double Frost because its effect in the graveyard is much better than Lilla Treat. And then next we played the 1 copy of Evil Twins Kill and Lilla, literally just for Trouble Sunny. That's all we play this card for. It's really all it's good for, to be honest. I really wish this card was better, just so we could use it more, but yeah, it's just not that good. Then onto the hand traps. I played 2 Effect Veiler, 2 Ash Blossoms, 2 Nibirus, and 2 Ghost Spells, along with 2 copies of Imperm. So I went with the 10 ratio on the hand traps, and I just doubled up on all of them. It was mainly to make room for like other cards to stun my opponent. And Nibiru, I was running it at 3 originally, but through playtesting and through some of my experiences before the tournaments, a lot of people were actually playing around Nib, so I decided to cut the Nib to 2 instead of 3, and I think it worked out just fine. I saw it when I needed it, and I didn't dead draw into it too much, so yeah, it was just fine at 2, to be honest. Onto the spells. Of course, we're playing triple copies of Secret Password, again, just standard, searches out your searchers. And we got Live Twin Sunny Snitch, searches out our starters. And then we play triple copies of Live Twin Home. I know a lot of people are actually on 2 Live Twin Home, some even on 1, but me personally, I prefer the 3rd home. Every time I've cut it down to 2 or 1, I never saw it enough. Leaving it at 1 or 2, I never saw it enough. So throwing in the 3rd copy, I honestly saw it a lot of times when I needed to. So it's just my personal preference. Like whenever I'm summoning my twins and then at the end of my twin board, my opponent activates Nibiru, then yeah, I'm left with nothing. So yeah, we use Live Twin Home to play past or play through Nibiru to at least get Evil Twin Kill on field while Evil Twin Lilla is in the graveyard. So that way we still have some form of interruption. And then another thing, a lot of players have been using Cyframe Gear Gamma against my twin starters. And yeah, it really hurts. So, because Gamma negates and destroys the body, so we will just be left with nothing, even if we had Lilla Treat or Kill Frost. So Live Twin Home just comes in handy right then and there as well. Up next, for the tournament, I played triple copies of Droplet. So for the first mat tournament, I actually played 3 Droplets. I actually don't own a 3rd copy of Droplet, but my buddy Top Deck Hyun, he was actually nice enough to let me borrow his copy of Droplet. He said he wasn't using it for the tournament, so he let me use it for that tournament. And honestly, I thoroughly believe that the 3rd copy of Droplet helped me in my in one of my rounds. And I'll talk about it later on in the video, but yeah, I thoroughly and genuinely believe that the 3rd copy helped me. But yeah, anyways, Droplet is Droplet. It's just insanely good with twins. And then next we got the one copy of Harpy's Feather Duster and the one Called by the Grave. This deck struggles heavily against back row decks, so we played the one Harpy's Feather Duster for the back row out. And then Called by the Grave is just Called by the Grave. Extremely versatile, and it's just, yeah, helps us not get Ash Blossomed. And then for some spice, so yeah, this is pretty spicy in my personal opinion. I have not seen anybody play these cards in this deck, and yeah, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So we're playing triple copies of Mistaken Arrest. We are mainboarding this, and so if you guys don't know what this card does, because a lot of my opponents, they thought this was Shared Ride when I activated it. So this card, it's a quick play spell, and its effect reads, until the end of your next turn after this card resolves, neither player can add cards from their deck to their hand except by drawing them. So this card threw a lot of my opponents off and stunned them heavily. This is basically Duel, but just in a quick play form. And let me tell you, Mistaken Arrest, like, this deck wants to go first, and if you open up Mistaken Arrest as one of your interruptions, pretty much just shuts your opponent's turn down. Like, just, they can't do anything. So most of the time, if this resolves, your opponent can't do anything, they'll just pass turn. And then on your following turn, you'll just OTK. So this is actually a new card I threw in after the Tulsa, Oklahoma regional. And I really wish that I threw these in before I went to the tournament, because I feel like this would have helped a lot, to be honest. But anyways, yeah, Mistaken Arrest, I threw this in because everybody searches. You'd be lying to yourself if your deck doesn't search at least once or twice. Because Mistaken Arrest is just such a good card for Evil Twins. Because if you establish your Evil Twins on board, all you're going to be doing is just simply drawing. You're not even going to search. You're just going to keep drawing at this point. I will say, though, that it does suck when your opponent does actually manage to break your board and stop your Evil Twin plays from recurring. And if you just dead draw and you have no starters, nothing, and you top deck into Secret Password or Sunny Snitch, yeah, that's when Mistaken Arrest is just going to hurt you a lot. But I'll be dead honest, like 90% of the time, this card was just absolutely amazing. Super glad I threw this in. And then some more spice. We're playing triple copies of Mystic Mine. Don't hate me, don't dislike the video, don't click off the video. I'm sorry, I know it's Mystic Mine. So, okay, let me explain myself why I'm running Mystic Mine. So we all know that Mystic Mine is absolutely amazing in Sky Strikers. Mystic Mine is basically an honorary Sky Striker card at this point. Because Sky Strikers, all they do is just summon one monster anyways, and they'll just end with usually just one monster. And Evil Twins is actually relatively the same, to be honest. Something I learned is that Sky Strikers and Evil Twins play relatively the same. They have relatively similar play styles. And again, Evil Twins, usually their end board is just Trouble Sunny. So you could just summon Trouble Sunny and then activate Mystic Mine during your turn 1. Pass for turn, your opponent goes, and then what are they going to do? They can't summon 2 monsters on field. And if they just summon 1 monster, it's going to be tough for them to out the Trouble Sunny. At least most of the time. And then another example is that if you normal summon one of your twin starters and they get negated and you don't have an extender, just play Mystic Mine, sit on mine. Yeah, your opponent's not going to be able to do a whole lot either. So this is just another like backup plan in case your plays get stopped and you have no extenders. So yeah, honestly, I love playing the 3 Mystic Mine in this deck. Makes me feel extremely bad for my opponents, but at the same time, I've played against so many Flunder decks that just de-shifter me with no hesitation, no remorse, nothing. I've had Eldritch players just skill drain, rivalry, and goes in all at the same time. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna just main deck the Mystic Mine, man. I'm sick of this. I'm just gonna play it. And I'm glad I decided to play it. I'm not even gonna lie. As bad of a card, or as toxic of a card this is, I'm glad I decided to play it. And then to end the main deck, we are playing 2 copies of Torrential Tribute, just because of the interaction it has with the Live Twins. And then onto the extra deck, we played triple copies of Evil Twin Kiss-a-Kill, just standard, as well as the triple copies of Lilla. I know some people are cutting out the 3rd Lilla to make room for like other utility cards, but personally, I prefer to play the 3 and 3. For the grind game, the 3 and 3 actually does help a lot. And then we played the triple copies of the Trouble Sunny. I mean, obviously, this is our main goal in the deck, just to make Trouble Sunny and just play the grind game with our opponent. And then I played the 1 copy of Transcode for the OTKs. And then I play 1 copy of Unchained Abomination. So for the longest time, I actually cut this card just because I felt like it wasn't needed anymore because of Trouble Sunny. And like, yeah, it's just, there was no point to make Abomination if we had Trouble Sunny. But there has been games where I would run through all 3 Trouble Sunnies and the grind game is just too real. And we would have no more Link Forest to go into, no more boss monsters to sit on. So after we burn out all of our Trouble Sunnies, we would at least have Abomination to go into. So yeah, that's literally the only reason why it's in here. Just to be that 4th extra deck boss monster to go into. And then we played the 1 copy of Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. For both tournaments, I rarely made it, to be honest. It's just too good not to run in the Evil Twin deck, I feel. But yeah, that's just my own personal preference. I really like the card. And then to end the extra deck, we just played the Zeus package, Gachi Gachi, Downerd, and the Arsenal Zeus. So I know this is kind of contradicting what I've said in the past in my previous deck profiles for Twins. For the longest time, I always said that if you're going to run the Gachi Gachi Gentetsu, don't run the Downerd. It's just no point because, or if you're using Gachi, most of the time you're going to use it to swing into one of your opponent's attack position monsters and then protect itself by detaching a material. And then main phase 2, you go into Zeus and you'll have a 2-mat Zeus. But there's been multiple occasions that has actually convinced me to run the Downerd. Through my experience at regionals and just my games afterwards, I've realized that a lot of players are actually still playing around Lightning Storm and all that, so they'll have at least 1 defense position monster. And so yeah, we'll make Gachi Gachi, swing into one of their defense position monsters. We'll still have 2 mats on it. Main phase 2, overlay the Downerd, and then Zeus, and we'll have a 4-mat Zeus. And then another thing, if our opponent has DPE, we can use Gachi Gachi, swing into one of their monsters. We'll say we swing into one of their attack position monsters, and we use Gachi's effect to protect itself. That's perfectly fine. It'll have 1 material under it. And then if our opponent decides to activate DPE, destroying itself and Gachi, we can use Gachi's effect again, protect itself once more, and it'll have no materials under it. Main phase 2, go into the Downerd, and go into the Zeus. And now we still got a 2-mat Zeus. So yeah, the Downerd, as bad as I've talked about it in the past, you have to play Downerd even if you're playing Gachi Gachi, because Downerd just helps so much, to be honest. And even if you have to protect Gachi Gachi just once, you can still overlay the Downerd onto it and then put Zeus. I mean, it'll be at 3 materials, but if you have extra cards on the field that get destroyed, a lot of people seem to forget that Zeus has another effect, where once per turn, if another card you control is destroyed, you can add another material onto Zeus. And again, a lot of my opponents actually forgot about that or didn't even know about that effect, which is just, it just proves the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh players don't read. And that effect actually has come up like once or twice for me, and one of those times was actually game changing. Alright, and then the side deck that I went into both tournaments with, actually, I didn't change the side deck at all. We played the triple copies of Lancia, and then we have the 3 Gammas and the 1 Driver. We got the 1 copy of Twin Twisters, 2 Evenly Matched, 2 Royal Decree, and triple Dimensional Barrier. So D-Barriers, I mean, granted, is kind of running rampant right now, so D-Barriers was absolutely a must for me. Royal Decrees is because I'm still deathly afraid of Eldritch, and Royal Decree kind of just helps me with the Eldritch matchup. And of course, Red Reboot would be really good as well, extremely good, but I just don't own a copy of Red Reboot, so yeah, I just run the Royal Decrees instead. Double Evenly Matched in case I'm going second. And then Twin Twisters is just another back row removal in case I need more than just Harpy's Feather Duster. I wanted to run more back row hate, but I wanted to make room for other things. Because originally I was running 2 Gammas and 2 Twisters, but I figured running 3 Gammas was probably better. So yeah, I just went with the 3 Gammas and 1 Twister. And then the 3 Gammas and Driver, they're in the side deck because I don't like main decking it, to be honest. I just don't. And then Artifact Lancia is just Artifact Lancia, extremely good side deck card. Alright, so for my rounds at the first tournament, again, as I said, I did get top 5, top 8 won Field Centers, and yeah, so this was nice. This was the only thing that I legitimately won on my own, which still feels really nice. And I do have my notes here in case I forgot anything, so yeah, that's why my mouse is on screen. But anyways, so round 1, I played against Dragoonity, And I believe it was a pure Dragoonity deck and not like a Dragon Link variation, because I saw nothing but Dragoonity cards played. But yeah, anyways, I had no idea how Dragoonity played regardless. I didn't even know how they used to play before the latest support. So it was still a new matchup for me to learn. So game 1, I lost the die roll and my opponent decided to go first. And he started off by summoning a couple of Dragoonity monsters and used effects to like keep equipping monsters that could special summon themselves from the spell and trap zones. And I had Nibiru in hand and I was counting for his 5th summon. And on his 5th summon, he actually summons Dragoonity Knight, the Arid Bear, or something like that. The one that can banish Dragoonity monsters from the graveyard to negate monster effects. After he summoned it, I read the effects and I was like, well, Nib is useless now. So yeah, I just, held on to the Nibiru and he passed his turn with just the Dragoonity Knight and Dragon's Ravine. So I drew for turn and I had no way to actually bait or negate his monster. He ends up just beating me down and we go on to the next game. Game 2, I started by summoning Lilla and pretty much just do Evil Twin plays, y'all already know. Ending on Trouble Sunny. My opponent draws, activates Ravine, but I ash it. He then attempts to summon a monster, and he tried to activate its effects, but unfortunately for him, I had the effect Veiler, so he just passed his turn. During his end phase, I activate Trouble Sunny to bring back Hisakil and Lilla, destroying his monster and drawing a card. I summon a monster, go into Transcode, and just ended up going for the OTK. In the game 3, he decides to go first, summons a couple of monsters again, and pretty much makes the exact same board as he did in game 1. He just had the Ravine and the Adreadbear, or a Red Bear. I don't know, the Dragoonity Knights, they all got weird names. But anyways, I draw for turn, and I draw into Imperm. So I Imperm his monster, go into Evil Twin Lilla to pop his monster, and then went into Trouble Sunny, attacked for 5,500 with the Evil Twin shotgun combo. Main phase 2 went back into Trouble Sunny and passed turn, and he draws and pretty much just ends up scooping because I guess he didn't draw into anything good. And then round 2, we actually played against Fluwandereeze. And it was kind of insane for me, I'm not even gonna lie. Fluwandereeze, I have a really bad win-loss ratio against Fluwandereeze. And spoiler alert, I actually did win this game. And it was just super crazy. So game 1, I won the die roll, so I go first. And I unfortunately brick, so I set Life Twin home and Mistaken Arrest and pass turn. He draws for turn and activates Pot of Prosperity, banishes 3 for cost, and then I chain Mistaken Arrest. After I played the card, my opponent was kind of surprised and shocked, and he read the card and he was just like, oh, and he was like, wow, that's a pass turn. So I draw for turn, and luckily I drew into one of my twin starters. I think it was Lilla. So I summon Lilla and activate effect to special summon Hisakil from deck, and then just make my Evil Twin plays and pretty much attack for 5,500. Set some back row and then pass turn. He draws and he just scoops. So yeah, going into game 2, at this point I haven't seen anything about what deck he's playing yet, aside from just the Prosperity. But because he was playing Prosperity, and I was fully preparing to see Fluwandereeze players at this event, I took a hard read and decided to side in the Lancias and the Gamma package for the D-Shifter. My opponent starts and he activates D-Shifter, and I was like, ah yeah, Fluwandereeze, I freaking called it. But dang it, I didn't draw Gamma. So he summons Eaglin effect to search out Ryza, then normal summons Robina and attempts to activate. And unfortunately for him, I had Ash Blossom, so he passes turn from there. I draw, I summon Hisakil and use her effect to summon Lilla from deck, overlay into Gachi Gachi and swing into Robina. Main phase 2, overlay into Downard and then into Zeus, pass for turn. And my Zeus has 4 materials at this point. He draws, activates D-Fisher, sets 1 back row I think, and passes turn. During his end phase, I activate Zeus to wipe the field, and he pretty much just scoops from there. And we take game 2 as well, and yeah, we go on to round 3. And going into round 3, I played against one of the better players at the shop, at least to me personally. Shoutouts to ATEEZ. So my buddy Lapau just lost to him in round 2, and he saw I was facing him next, and he just kept looking at me saying, good luck. And I was thinking to myself, dang it, looks like my win streak ends here. Because I have a bad win-loss ratio against him. I don't think, at this point, I've lost every single match against him every time I played him. And yeah, it's just I had no hope in going into this game. So game 1 starts, and I believe I won the die roll. And I started off by summoning Lilla, attempting to activate her effect. My opponent proceeds to activate Ash Blossom, negating the Lilla. I then special summon Frost from hand, so you know we were fortunate for that, and go into Evil Twin Kill and attempt to activate her effect, which is met by an Imperm. But luckily for me, we're just too good at the game. I activate Secret Password, search Sunny Snitch to add Treat to my hand, special summon Treat, go into Evil Twin Lilla's effect to bring back Kill to draw a card, go into Trouble Sunny and pass turn. My opponent draws, and then I can't remember the sequencing of how things played out. I just remember him summoning Vishuda, linking it off for Monk, banish the Vishuda, targeting Trouble Sunny. I chain Trouble Sunny effect and summoned out Evil Twin Kill. He ends up summoning Taya, I think, using Taya's effect and gets a token, goes into Hulk and uses Hulk effect, summons Despot, and then I chain Kill effect, bringing out Lilla to pop the Hulk. I can't remember how the rest of the turn played out, but he ended up going into Chi-Xiao and Chaofeng using Light and Earth materials. Attacks into both of my twins and passes turn with those 2 monsters only. I draw and I top deck Droplet, and I gotta give a shout out to my boy Andy, aka Top Deck Killing. This is actually where the 3rd Droplet I feel like came in play. It gave me a better chance to top deck into it, and yeah, I activated that Droplet, sending Feather Duster from my hand and Sunny Snitch from the field to the graveyard, negating both of his monsters. I then activate Trouble Sunny's effect in grave, sending his Chaofeng to the graveyard so that it doesn't get its destruction effect. I then summoned Lilla and did the Evil Twin combo, brought out Evil Twin Lilla to pop the Chi-Xiao. He paid cost for Chi-Xiao to banish Blackout from graveyard to summon a token. I then bring out another Trouble Sunny, attacked it to his token, tagged out for Kill Lilla, drew a card from Kill, attacked for 2200 direct, main phase 2, go back into Trouble Sunny, activate another Sunny Snitch, and then pass turn. My opponent draws and then scoops as he was unable to do a whole lot with what he had. And then going into game 2, I sided in Gammas and evenly matched since I knew I was most likely going to be going second. My opponent ends up bringing out Adara, I think, Adhara, or however you say his name. Uses it to go into Monk and then summons Moyi. He activates Moyi and I chain Imperm. I forget what happened next, but I had another Imperm in hand and ended up negating another monster and forced him to pass turn. I summoned a twin and went into the Evil Twin combo, attacked for a good chunk of damage, and passed turn with Trouble Sunny and Sunny Snitch on the field. He draws, summons Taya, and activates its effect. Summons a token, and I chain Trouble Sunny to bring out Kill and Lilla. I attempt to activate Lilla's effect, targeting his token, and then he activates his token collector in graveyard to summon itself. And I believe he mistimed the summoning for the token collector here, but it wasn't that big of a deal, so I didn't say anything. The token got destroyed, and after thinking about what to do for a bit, he just scoops, and I end up winning game 2 as well. Alright, so round 4, I played against Dragon Link, and I believe I won the die roll, and I went first. And let me tell you, it was Brick City. Nothing but hand traps in my hand, and I drew Mistaken Arrest, I believe. So yeah, I just set the Mistaken Arrest and passed turn. So he starts, and I think he summons, I want to say one of his rocket monsters. Goes into Striker Dragon, attempts to activate Striker Dragon to search Boot Sector launch. I chain the Mistaken Arrest, and from there he does a couple of other things, but doesn't end his board with a whole lot. Attacks for whatever he had on field. Passes turn. I drew for turn, and it was just another brick. And yeah, game 1 he ended up just beating me down because I just kept bricking. And yeah, we went on to game 2. I sided in Lancias, I believe. We go first, and we start things off with the Sunny Snitch. Sunny Snitch effect to add the Live Twin Lilla from deck to hand. Summon the Lilla, and unfortunately, it's met with an Imperm. I think it was Imperm or Ash, one of those. We ended up setting Live Twin Home and Torrential Tribute, and then we activated Mystic Mine, and we just passed for turn. And I was like, okay, we have the Mystic Mine. He negated Lilla, but we have Mystic Mine, so we should be alright for the next couple of turns, at least. And my opponent draws for turn, and he plays Lightning Storm. So yeah, my soul left my body the moment he activated Lightning Storm, and he built his board, and I just wasn't able to come back from that, and he ended up taking game 2 very quickly and very easily. So yeah, that was just very unfortunate for me. But yeah, I ended up getting top 5, and we got the field center, and yeah, that was how the first tournament went. Going into the second playmat tournament, the changes we made was we didn't have the third copy of Droplet, so we took that copy out and we just throw in the third imperm. That's literally the only change I did. So going into this tournament, there was only 12 of us. So yeah, like I said, there was just a really small amount of us. But round 1, I feel really bad because round 1 I played against my sister, and she was playing Tri-Brigade Melfi, and I built the deck for her, so I knew everything that was in her deck. And my sister, she doesn't play Yu-Gi-Oh too much. She doesn't play a whole lot. And I knew the deck much more. Like, I knew the ins and outs of the deck much better than she did. And I mean, before this tournament, like, I taught her the combos that she should be going into or prioritizing, and certain interactions to keep out for or keep a lookout for. You know, I'm not the best player out there to be teaching or, you know, helping, but you know, I did my best because, you know, I wanted my sister to have the best chances of winning as she could possibly get. And yeah, unfortunately, they paired her up against me. She wasn't feeling too confident, and I was feeling extremely confident. So I ended up taking the win against my sister. I feel bad again, but you know, it was for another Evil Twin playmat, and you know, I'm trying to get those playmats. So no mercy. So game 1 starts, and I think I won the die roll. I decided to go first. I set up Trouble Sunny, pass turn. My sister starts, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't really remember how the games went, but yeah, I just pretty much overall, I just ended up outgrinding her, and just, yeah, she wasn't able to do a whole lot. So game 2, she decides to side in some cards. So game 2, she starts, and she actually opened up a pretty good hand. She has Obedience Schooled, and Obedience Schooled is literally full combo for the Melfi Tri-Brigade deck. Unfortunately for her, she forgets the combo, and I debated about helping her like build, or yeah, with the combo and building the board, but I was like, you know what, it's tournament, let her figure it out. If she doesn't get it right, then I'll teach her after the round, so that way for her next rounds she'll have it. Anyways, yeah, she activates Obedience Schooled, she summons out 3 beast monsters, and again forgets the combo, ends up on a very mediocre board, and passes turn. I draw for turn, I summon Lila, and she chains Spooky Dogwood. And I was like, oh, okay. Summoned Lila, summoned Kiss a Kill, and yeah, I was summoning Evil Twins, and she had gained like, her health was like 10,000 something. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of freaking health. But yeah, we ended up just outgrinding as well again, and we ended up taking the win. And then going into round 2, I played against Branded Adventure. So game 1, I start, I win the die roll, and I just set up Trouble Sunny, couple hand traps in hand. I set Mistaken Arrest and pass for turn. And then to be honest, I can't really remember how the rest of game 1 went. We end up outgrinding him, and he doesn't draw into a whole lot, so we take game 1. Game 2, he goes first, and he activates Rite of Aramasir, gets the adventure token. Not gonna lie, I don't really remember how game 2 went, but it was kind of the same thing. We just outgrind him, and we end up beating him down with Trouble Sunny. So we take game 2. Going into round 3, I played against Gadgets, and it was super interesting. Game 1, he went first, and he normal summoned one of the gadgets. I think it was Green Gadget. Got the search off of it. Set like 3 back row, I think, and passed turn. I drew for turn, and I normal summoned Life Twin Lila, attempt to activate her effects, and he activates Imperm on my Lila, and I don't have extenders. So he activates Imperm on the Lila, and he was like, alright, now show me those extenders. And I was like, oh, you want to see those extenders? Alright, pass turn. He was just like, wait, what? He ends up summoning another gadget, gets the search, goes into a few, I think he goes into Gear Gigant X, gets the search off of that, summons some monsters, and then I forget what else happened. Attacks her into the Lila, and pass his turn. I draw for turn. I summon Kiss a Kill, and it's met by another Imperm. And I'm just like, alright, I guess I'm not playing the game. And my hand is filled with, I think it was filled with hand traps. I had Nib, Ghost Spell, and Effect Veiler, I think. But I think I used the Veiler at some point during his turn. I can't remember when. But I pass for turn, and he draws, and he ends up just building a pretty big board and goes for game. And I'm going into game 2, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to side in. I think I sided in Dimensional Barriers just for the XCs that he summoned. So game 2, I go first. Luckily, we had a better hand. We were able to establish Trouble Sunny on board. And we just passed turn with one set card, I think. I think I set Torrential. So my opponent goes, he summons a gadget, adds a monster off of it, does some stuff. Baits out Trouble Sunny, I think, and some stuff happens. I'll be dead honest, I don't really remember exactly what happened in this game. All I know is that he ended up clearing my board, and I ended up activating that set Torrential at one point, and he had one monster on field and passed, or attacked with the one monster, passed for turn. I draw, didn't draw anything. I activate Mystic Mine, and he's just like, oh, okay. He's like, why do you play that? I was just like, I'm so sorry. So I play Mystic Mine, and I just sit on it, and we just go back and forth, drawing and passing for turn for like, I think 5 or 6 turns. I finally draw something and go into Trouble Sunny, and some stuff happened, and we ended up having the same amount of monsters on the field. I had Trouble Sunny, and he had one monster on the field. And it was an end phase that Mystic Mine should have went to the grave. And I feel bad because, yeah, Mystic Mine should have went to the grave at one point. But both of us completely forgot and completely missed it. But honestly, I don't think it would have changed much because I ended up outing my own Mystic Mine with Trouble Sunny's effect in grave. So regardless, I think I would have won that game. Because if Mystic Mine outed itself because we had the same amount of monsters, I could have just used Trouble Sunny's effect in graveyard to just clear one of his own cards. And yeah, I would have been fine. So yeah, game 2, I ended up beating him. Game 3, we get into this grind game, and I just end up out grinding him. That's pretty much all there was to it. And the hand traps stopped him pretty bad. And yeah, we end up taking game 3. And then on to round 4, we played against Branded Despia. He won, but it was mainly because both games, game 1 and 2, I bricked heavily. I saw a starter, it got negated, and I had no follow-ups. I had no extenders. He negated my Lilla, and on his turn he got rid of it and did enough damage to put me down to 700. And he ended his board on Masquerade Dragon. So I was like, okay, that's not good. I have one effect only. And I used it on Trouble Sunny's effect in grave to send the Masquerade effect, or the Masquerade, to the graveyard. And I was able to make a little bit of a play, but he had DPE on field as well, so I just wasn't really able to do a whole lot. And yeah, that game 1, he just takes it. Game 2, I go first, and it's Brick City. I don't draw anything. I draw a bunch of hand traps and spells that I can't use. I think I had like Harpy's Feather Duster in my hand. I think I had Mistaken Arrest as well, so I set Mistaken Arrest and pass turn. My opponent goes and tries to do some stuff. I think he activates the Branded Opening, summons out the Alibur's effect. I chain Mistaken Arrest. He just ends up summoning some like monsters on board. He activates Branded Fusion, sending Fallen of Albaz from the deck to grave, and Necro World Banshee. And he was like, I don't know how much this hurts you, but yeah, he sends Necro War Banshee and summons, I forgot what he summons out. I think he summoned Lubellion. I think that's the one that needs the dark. But anyways, Necro War Banshee's effect, he gets the Zombie World and passes turn. And I was like, honestly, I was thinking to myself, I didn't tell him, but I was like, honestly, Zombie World doesn't do crap to me. Anyways, I draw for turn, summon Kiss a Kill, and I think he Ash Blossoms it. And I just couldn't do anything from there. So I had no extenders. I passed turn. A couple turns later, I still have nothing, and I have 2 Veilers in hand, 1 Droplet. Set 1 Veiler, set 1 Droplet, pass turn. His turn, he's not taking any risks, so he uses Starving Venom, attacking to my set effect Veiler. Passes turn. I drew into another Droplet. I was like, come on. Yeah, and I kept dead drawing. He ends up going for game. I look at the next few draws. The next ones were like Nibiru, Torrential, Ash Blossom, Ghost Bell. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Where's my starters? So yeah, we ended up taking an L on round 4. Ended up getting 2nd place, which was it was still pretty cool. We did end up winning the field spell for you know, placing top 8 or higher. We got ourselves the Evil Twin Present Field Center, and yeah, pretty dope. I like it. And the guys there at the shop, they were super nice. The employees were super nice. For placing 2nd and for being the literally the only Evil Twin player there, they actually decided to just give me a playmat as well. And yeah, just super thankful. It caught me off guard. I was super surprised by it. I took my L from round 4, and I was like, dang it, I packed up my stuff. Because yeah, after losing round 4, and after they tallied up all the win-losses, I got 2nd, and I was just chilling with my sister and Top Deck Hyun. And shout outs to him for coming down to that tournament with me. Had a great time. He for some reason, he ended up winning the random drawing there as well for the Trishula playmats. And I was like, you got to tell me your secrets. But yeah, we were just chilling, and then one of the employees there was like, who got 2nd? The other guys yelled out my name. I looked over at the employee who was calling out for me, and he was like, hey, come here. So I walked over there. I was like, okay, what's up? Like, what's happening? He's like, here you go. He hands me the playmat, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, wait, why? He was like, you know what? Here you go. You get the 2nd playmat. I was like, okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I made comments. I was like, it's because I play twins, huh? He was like, yeah, that's exactly why. You play twins. He's like, I like twins, and you play twins, so here you go. So I was like, okay, thank you. And yeah, it was just a super fun time there. The guys there were super nice, and we achieved what we set out to do, and it was to get the playmat. But anyways, yeah, that was my Evil Twin deck profile and my tournament rounds experiences. Hope you guys enjoyed the deck, and I mean, I guess my conclusions for the deck: it bricked a lot. There were too many moments where it just kept bricking a lot. Because if my opponent breaks my board, like especially with Branded running around rampant with the Super Polys just kills this deck. And if they Super Poly us and they clear our board and we're just left to top deck, sometimes running all those hand traps, it just sucks. Like, you just brick city. Just keep drawing into nothing but hand traps, no starters, nothing, no monsters to summon. So after my experiences with both tournaments, I will be making changes to the deck. Probably will be cutting out hand traps to run other things. So yeah, we'll see what I end up playing. We'll see what I end up doing with the deck. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to stop playing twins. That's not going to happen. Especially with Splight on the way. Not going to happen. But anyways, yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the deck and how I did, or anything you want to tell me. But yeah, that's all I have for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And this is Divine YGO signing out. Peace.